All right, ladies, gentlemen, and gamers of all kinds, welcome back to another Patch Notes video. Now this one is going to be a tad bit different than the other ones, because it's currently 2:40 a.m. on this lovely Wednesday morning. So, without any further pleasantries, 10.18 patch. So we got Psyops this patch. I honestly thought we were getting Samira this patch, but apparently that's 10.19, unfortunately. And the second half of the Psyops skins are also coming later this patch, or next patch, in 10.19. So I'm pretty sad about that, but it looks like we actually do get a new game mode for the new pass that's coming out, and you know what that means. More League playing. Anyway, we got One For All returning, which is pretty good. Whole array of client, VFX, and general fixes. Oh my god. So, important thing is, this patch is probably going to be super meaty, which, much to my dismay, means I'm probably going to have to spend another fucking hour in this at, like, 2:40 in the morning, but you know what? Who gives a fuck? So, this is going off the patch skipping 10.17, so there's bound to be a lot of change in here, and since there wasn't a pass for a little bit, for a couple days, since the, 23rd, 24th, since the last pass ended, it's been like a week and then some since I've played League, but I have a pretty good idea of what's good and what's bad. But anyway, okay, so they did a Dancing in September meme, no one cares, Big ticket items include flexing fancy feet to a foxy favorite. Okay, they're changing Ari, lovely. And bringer. Okay, so they're changing Galio. Scale them. Okay, I don't give a shit. Let's read. So, oh my god, you can't even fucking see the skins. Jesus. Anyway, we have Hextech Ziggs, pretty good Hextech skin, and his little gimmick in this 1350 styled skin for gemstones is he has a little pet owl, which I call Cocker, even though his name is Talker. But anyway, that's cool. And then we have all the Psyops skins. In general, I think the Psyops skins are pretty shitty. Historically, in the summer, Riot has always released Project, and I guess for this year, they're like, okay, Project is taking a backseat. Oh, but we need to release, like, Project-themed skins, right? Oh, okay, let's release a new take on it, Psyops. Because Psyops, let's be honest, it's fucking Project, but lower. Like, a lot of people don't like these skins, and me included. I think they're pretty ass. Psyops Shen, decent. Psyops Vi, pretty shit. Psyops Ezreal, no one cares. Psyops Yi, who gives a shit. Psyops Sona, the newest legendary, mind you, which we'll talk about that. Pretty shit compared to her other stuff. And Psyops Ezreal Prestige. Whatever. It's decent. It's a prestige skin. Psyops Sona, right? This fucking bitch has an ultimate that's pretty decent, too. Actually, I don't know. I would say the ultimate is ultimate tiered because of its gimmick, not because of its effects. The effects are pretty lackluster on that skin. But, Psyops Sona, the effects aren't that bad, but it's Sona. You know, what the fuck can you do with Sona? And, I don't know. The skin just isn't that good. Overall, I would rate this very low. Ironically enough, the next batch of skins in the same line, you know, Psyops line, is Samira, Victor, and I think Pike, and that's it. If I'm forgetting someone, they're probably not important. But anyway, those skins are actually really cool because they're blue themed. These are like shitty oil themed. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird. But anyway, these are pretty good. No, these are pretty bad. The other ones are pretty good. Anyway, One For All's back. One For All, pretty decent. I'm very happy One For All is back. I played a little bit to get tokens, but that's about it. Okay, Ari. What do I think of Ari? Ari basically fucking sucks ass. I think Ari's mid pick similar to Lux, right? Like, Lux is good. I actually think Lux is in a better state than she's been in for a while. But, they fall off late, right? Lux falls off late, Ari falls off late. She does decent damage, but she really needs to land everything, and even then she doesn't really perform as well as other laners. She does have really good catch out, and she has decent sustain, decent poke, decent engage, whatever. She's not a particularly hard champion. She's very, I would say, beginner to middle friendly champion. And she's kind of just your run-of-the-mill. Like, I don't really see Ahri being too good. She's not terrible. If she gets fed, yeah, she could do a good amount. But I don't think she could carry, and I think she's generally pretty ass. Especially late game. But anyway, what are they doing? I'm assuming to see buffs here. Passive replaced with Q passive. Oh? Wasn't it like that before anyway? Where now any spell can heal. That's terrible. W now grants movement speed. That's good. Does 200% damage to low health minions. That's great. And better targets low health minions. Okay. Ahri's identity and gameplay. So her identity in Riot's eyes is a flighty mage who can weave in and out, which is kind of true, I would actually say. I would say that's pretty accurate. When I think of Ahri, I think of a bitch who's hard to lock down and who goes in and out. So they're actually pretty right with her identity. How bad is it? So the health regen's going down. Her passive is now... Okay, when stacking that, stack to heal. So they're moving the move speed onto the W. And it's more move speed now. But it's decaying, so it's kind of worse in my opinion. Orb of Deception, it's her passive now, okay. Which was her old passive. This was legit her old passive. They just put it back there for some reason. I feel like they have no clue what they're doing with fucking Ahri, but they're just fiddling around with her because she's not good, she's not bad. She's like middle ground. Overall, I would say this is a buff for Ahri, not the buff she needed. I feel like she is pretty mobile already as it is. I would honestly just like damage buffs or maybe add more utility to her E or W maybe. The Q is fine as it is. The Q could be simple. The ulti's pretty lackluster too. I don't know. I feel like this champion just needs to do more damage and or shred or something. She really fucking just is boring and kind of just doesn't stack up. That's her main problem. She doesn't stack up. But this is definitely a buff, but I'm still rating Ahri pretty low in the mid lane list because she sucks ass still. She's just a little bit more fast. Ashe. Ashe is one of the best, if not the best AD right now. She is played exclusively in LCS. I don't know why she's always let through and not banned. She's so fucking good. I'm sad that people have finally caught on because that means obviously Ashe is going to get nerfed. There's no way she's not, like in hell, there's no way she's not fucking getting nerfed. Unfortunately. So hopefully the nerf isn't that bad. Let's see. Ashe has remained one of the primary marksmen in pro play. Yep. So we're icing some of her powers. What are they doing? Attack damage down by a little bit. That's fine because the way crit works on her, I think she should be weaker early and have a really good late game, which she does. And what else? Bug fix. Renounce Hurricane when Fury damage not properly takes under consideration the future levels of Ranger's focus. That sounds like a buff. Additional Renounce Hurricane bolts from Amethyst's Ashe's Q Ranger's focus does not properly use the skin's VFX. Okay. So Ashe is slightly weaker, but nothing too crazy, which I'm actually happy they're doing because Ashe is a, one of the best / the best AD, but that doesn't mean she's good. ADs are not in a good spot. So I'm glad they're not nerfing her into the ground. They're just, slapping her a little bit. Because in general, AD is not a strong role, and if you over nerf it, it literally becomes useless, and mages will go back down there. So I'm actually really glad to see this is the only nerf for Ashe. This is super good. Galio. What do I think of Galio? I honestly think, well, obviously when Galio was reworked, right, he did insane damage, and they nerfed it to all hell. After that, he kind of sucked for a long time, and he was really good as like a tank kind of flex pick like that. Then they nerfed him again. And now, I thought he sucked for a bit. Then they buffed him. And then I've seen him recently, and he's actually played a lot in pro play because of his roaming capabilities with his ulti. And I feel like because of the ulti buffs and giving your teammate the shield, and just in general of being a CC bot like he is, He's actually really good as like not a mage champion, but like a hybrid sort of echo style, slight damage, more CC utility type guy. Like, you use Galio to roam, stack up on your teammates, set stuff up, and just in general be a nuisance. So I actually think he's really good for that. I don't believe he's no longer a mage, even though I loved him when he was a mage. But in general, I would say he's kind of right now middle of the line, leaning on being good. Like, if I see a Galio on my team, I obviously know he's not going to do great damage, but he's going to set stuff up, which is great. So, if anything, if they're nerfing him, I could see it going either way. If they're nerfing him, they're going to probably nerf his CC or something. Or maybe his cooldowns. And if they're buffing him, they might buff his damage a tad bit. But I don't think they'll buff him because he feels pretty decent. What are they doing? Q damage decreased. Okay, so they nerfed him and they just nerfed his damage. Galio Q lets him clear waves early without much risk. Really, it feels like shit. I don't think it wave clears that much anymore at all. 80, 70, it's going down by 10. This does absolutely fucking nothing. Okay. Jarvan. What do I think of Jarvan? Jarvan sucks asshole. I'm almost positive we're gonna see buffs. Jarvan is fucking useless. Jarvan's damage is going up by 10. Okay, this does nothing. Cool. Kale. What do I think of Kale? I think Kale's original idea was really cool. The original idea for Kale post rework was this late game scaling fucking animal that was like, okay, it's late game, Kale's gonna shuck you. And because they did that, Riot got scared and they basically gave her the worst early game in existence. Like, it wasn't even funny what she was in the early game. She was worse than a minion, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather have a minion than her early. But, they shifted away some of her power from her late game, which, to be honest, she didn't need that much anyway. But they shifted it away and put some in her early game, so she gets ranged at level 6, thank the fucking gods. And from there, she, like, does better. I think Kel overall is still in a weak spot, but she's like sleeper weak. Like, if you know what you're doing on Kale and you're given tools to work with, you can do great things as Kale. I don't believe she's a mid laner anymore just because she gets fucked so hard early. So the only places you could take her possibly are top and bot, and why would you take her bot? You're trolling. So the only place that's realistic to take her is top, and even then it's like, it could end up fucking you. But I think Kale's in the best spot she's been. I think she's really decent, but still borderline kind of bad, but can be really good if she's given what she needs. And generally she's a fun, satisfying champ to play. She just has obvious problems of, okay, kind of weak early, and then like, she's pretty squishy. But other than that, I think she's really cool and really good. It's just her early to mid is kind of weak. But anyway, we're definitely going to see buffs. There's no way they're nerfing Kale. What are they doing? Q mana restore removed. Interesting. W cost increased. Okay, these are looking like nerfs. E cost removed. That's pretty good. And missile speed increased. That's pretty fucking good because the E went slow. So the mana restore on Q is out, which is honestly fine. It's not that much anyway. W cost is going up by 20, which is interesting. I feel like Kale has high mana costs. I always go mana flow on her because I do like to spam. The E having no cost is great because that, along with your Q, is like your most spam spell. You should always be spamming E. And now the missile speed is more than doubled, so the missile speed is more of a quality of life change. It doesn't really matter per se. It's definitely going to matter in very niche situations, like maybe Yasuo Windwall if the Yasuo has bad reaction timing. But in general, this is a pretty decent change. Overall, I think they hit Kale a little hard, but the fact that the E has no cost means it's literally free. You're using it for free poke, which is quite good. The missile speed is quality of life. Yeah, I think Kale is basically the same power she was. This is nothing, if not a little weaker, because her mana costs are up earlier. But we'll see. I mean, you spam me the most, so we'll see what this is. I think it's better for her, but not by much. Kog'Maw. What do I think of Kog'Maw? I think AD Kog'Maw is AD Kog'Maw. It is what it's always been. It's you protect the Cog, you hopefully win late. Cog isn't the animal he once was, where it's like, okay, Cog late, we're almost insta winning. But now it's like, what level is fucking Chancellor? 86, damn. Now it's like Kog'Maw gets late. Okay, he's on par with some other ADs / slightly better at taking down tanks. I think one of the best, if not the best, late game AD is Vayne. Like Vayne, late game, full build, full items, full everything, and not stupid, will like out damage and outperform almost every AD. Kog'Maw is like a close second though. The problem is with ADC Kog'Maw, it's Kog'Maw. Again, he's super weak. He has to have a team that plays around him. He needs to get so many items, and he has to get peel and protection and basically be against tanks to be pretty effective. He can work against squishies, but his true shine is with tanks, obviously. ADC is pretty bad. It's decent if you get the tools or if you're in low elo like I am. Pretty hard to play in higher elo unless the items are good. The fucking Rage Blade changed long ago where it was 3 hits instead of 2. Really hurt Kog'Maw, and I think he is never going to be the same. I personally think they should revert him back to the old Kog'Maw where his W gave him 5 attack speed, but whatever. But yeah, AD Kog'Maw's so shit, they've been playing Kog'Maw AP, and from what I've seen, it's done decent to bad. Like, I've never seen AP Kog'Maw carry a game or be a problem. That's not to say he wasn't annoying and he was non-existent, because he definitely was. In pro play, we're seeing a lot of AP Kog'Maw, and it's definitely not ignorable, but it's definitely not a terror pick, like that's gonna have you quaking in your fucking boots. So, overall, I would say AP Kog'Maw is probably something Riot doesn't like, because it's not doing terrible and it's not great, but it's pretty whatever. I think Riot just doesn't like that though. There's some things Riot just doesn't really fucking like, even though it's interesting and cool. Like, I think Kog'Maw going mid is cool, as long as he could still AD and is good at it. I thought the supports going top were kind of cool. If not a little oppressive, it was cool. Mages going bot, I'm fine with it, it's cool. Just don't shut out other stuff, which Kog'Maw definitely doesn't, but again, Riot just hates certain things for reasons beyond me. So I'm assuming to see nerfs. To what? Maybe damage, AP scaling. I hope not, but we'll see. What are they doing? This caustic caterpillar creature is almost towing and oozing around the line, and he's finally crossed it. Really? They think Kog'Maw's a problem. Okay. In response, we're lowering his defensive to highlight his identity as a glass cannon marksman, severely spitty but slightly squishy. Base health and armor growth decrease, so this hurts his bot lane for some reason. I don't think Kog'Maw's powerful at all. In fact, I mean, they're probably doing this based on win rate, but like, I've barely seen him in pro play as AD. I've barely seen him in solo queue at all. I think I'm the only person who really plays him. And even then, I haven't played AD in God knows how long. And I don't think he's that good. I mean, obviously he's not bad, but it's like, he's definitely on the line of, like, here's how I see it, right? There's lines. There's the bad line, there's the middle line, above the bad line, and then there's the good line, which is on top of that. Kog'Maw's definitely between the bad and the middle. Like, he's not that good. He's not ignorable, but he's not that good. I mean, is this a lot? Health growth 90 to 85. You're losing 5 times 18, which is 50. Well, 5 times 10 is 50. Times 18 is 90. You're losing 90 health, which for Kog'Maw is probably something, but not really. Armor growth, you're losing 0.25, which is kind of nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I don't think he needs to be nerfed, especially with these few changes, so this is whatever. I think this is shit, but whatever. Kog'Maw's the same, if not worse. MF, what do I think of MF? MF is decent, I would say. She's definitely in the middle to good tier between those lines. She's very, hey, I'll deal a lot of fucking damage, a lot of burst, and teamfight ulti. But I have to have setup. You don't have setup on MF for that ulti, you're not really that good of a champion. But I would say she's in a good spot. I've seen her a little bit in pro play, so I'm assuming she's getting nerfed, but only slightly. But we'll see. Base attack speed growth increased. Really? Making another opportunistic buff on an early game focused Marc's Pirate. Huh. Reverting some nerfs from earlier seasons. Really? I did not think she needs this, but you know what? Fuck it. MF isn't known for her attack speed, so giving her more attack speed I don't think really does anything. And then the W max move speed is going up by 5. Quality of life change. MF's the same. Rumble. After that little mini Rumble rework they did with all his cooldowns, he's never been the same. I would say he's been worse overall. He used to be like an always needed pick if you wanted to win team fights top lane, and if they didn't have Kennen up. Now he's more become of like a niche pick slash if you're good at him or you want to play him. He's not like required. I think he's on the middle of the line, honestly. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's terrible. If you land good equalizers, you do really good in team fights. You could definitely shred some people. His laning is decent. I think he's just a decent champion overall, honestly. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. If I had to put my finger on it, I'd say they'd buff him though, because we're not seeing a lot of him. We're heating things up. Yep, his Q buff. Okay. So it's going up by 5. 5 early. 315 to 340 late. Late game, the damage is going up a lot more than I thought. Huh. And you max this first. By late game, I mean by the time this ability is maxed. So this is pretty decent, actually. This might put Rumble back on the board for some people. The Q damage is nothing to laugh at. The Q damage does a lot of damage. I would say Rumble is slightly above the line. Slightly above the middle line. Okay, Set. What do I think of Set? Set is not a problem, but a very weird case, right? I think he's getting into the lane of Riot doesn't like what people are doing to him, because as it stands, Set can be flexed into 4 out of 5 of the positions in this game. He could be flexed top, he could be flexed mid, he could be flexed jungle, he could be flexed support. Do not go AD, he does not do enough damage. So it's like, if you pick a Set's basically super good at just going in, setting up fights, staying alive, and doing decent damage, which you could use in any role. I don't know honestly why he can be played in any role, because I don't feel like his damage is up to par, but you know what? What I think and what the reality is are different things sometimes. What is this? Maintenance notice. Oh yeah, they're updating. I forgot about that. So overall, I'm pretty sure Riot doesn't like how versatile he is, and they're probably going to nerf him to try and force him into at least 1 or 2 roles where they want him to kind of stay. I don't think they like him being able to go 4 different roles easily. What are they doing? Passive right punch changed to scale with bonus attack damage. Q bonus damage ratio now fixed. Bonus damage ratio per 100. Total attack now scales. Set continued to muscle his way through pro levels of play. Oh, yep. Especially with low economy tank and utility builds. Yep. Since our previous nerf to his base values wasn't sufficient, we're taking a larger swing at him. Jesus. To do this, we're adjusting how he scales with damage and gold to incentivize players to swap to damage-oriented builds instead. This is what I was saying. Expect another check-in after Worlds to make sure he's all set. Ha. So yeah, they're doing exactly what I'm saying. They're trying to normalize him going top by forcing him to build damage. If not top, they're probably trying to get him out of the support role. Because you could build set damage and go mid. You could build set damage and go jungle. You could build set damage and go top. They kind of want him in top though. I think they'd allow him mid. Okay, hold on, what's this? Yeah, they probably want him to go top and flex to mid. But aside from that, they probably didn't like it. Oh my fucking god, Charlotte, you bitch. So, yeah, they're nerfing him, basically. They're nerfing him by buffing him in certain ways, is how I see it. Point of total, yeah, so he scales worse overall if you're not building damage. So they want you to build damage on him. Damage tank, kind of. Which makes me think this doesn't really change anything because he goes that build no matter where he goes. So the question is, does this change what they want to change? I think not. Does this make him stronger if he builds damage? Yes. But he wasn't used right now to build damage, so it's like, I just think set is a fucking issue, honestly. I think he needs to just be pushed to top lane. But I'm not too sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think set is overall worse for what they were doing, but overall better because I like set top. Okay, Shen. What do I think of Shen? Shen is a dominant pick in pro play. And I think that's because he does a lot of damage for being full tank almost. And just in general, his mobility with his ulti. Like, same reason they play TF. Mobility with the ulti and does great damage. Except TF's a fucking mage. Shen is an engage, split pusher, tank, damage dealer. Like, it's insane what Shen is. Shen is really fucking good. They have to nerf him. There's no way. He's so oppressive. Because what are they doing? His passive shield is going down. Okay, this does nothing. This does absolutely nothing. Shen's still great. Shyvana. Shyvana has kind of been, in my opinion, non-existent, aside from AP. AD Shyvana is, ironically, considered a troll build, and it's decent, but she's meant to be like, you know, tanky slash, well, she's meant to be tanky, and then she's also gone AP because people are sickos and her AP is actually kind of nutty. But I think they want to push Shyvana either more towards tank or more towards AD damage. I doubt they want to push her AP, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna get buffed. She's really not that good. Dragon Form explosion radius increased. Okay, that's a buff to AP, kind of. Dragon Form visuals and cast indicator now accurately represent the abilities hit radius. Dragon Form ground zone damage tick rate decreased. I don't get it. Dragon's Race Hunter E scaled with her Flame Breath rank ups, but this effect was not accurately represented. Oh. And they just decided to fucking change it. We expect these changes to be a small nerf to AP. Really? A small buff to AD? I see it as the opposite. And a large increase to Flame Breath's clarity. This is pretty weird. Yeah, I don't know. How big is this? 300, center check, boundary check. I think overall this is a buff. A center check with 3-foot radius is about equal to 280 radius boundary check for most targets. So it's a slight nerf. Dragon Form visuals, updated. This is really fucking weird. I think Shyvana still sucks ass. Fuck this. This is making my brain hurt. Okay, Twitch. So Twitch is a stinky rat. And as a stinky rat, I think he's one of the worst ADs. Ironically, now people are going, and by people I mean sneaky, are going this new build on him, which is Mana Moon Rush, which people are going on a lot of ADs, and it's pretty good, paired with the right runes. But Twitch in general is in a weak spot. He has a really weak early game, decent mid game, great late game, but his late game is not matching other ADCs. And I think it has largely to do with how hard the early and mid game is with him. Do I think Twitch is bad? Yeah, he's pretty bad. His passive is basically useless. His W is kind of bad. His Q is great. His E is decent. His ulti is great. His passive and his W, I think, are the weakest part of his kits and needs to get reworked. Everything else can stay. But in general, Twitch is between the bad and middle line. I would say he's kind of in the middle of both. He's like straight in the middle. He can do work if given the right tools. Not as bad, not as great as Kale, obviously. but it takes a lot for him to really shine. Especially with all the stuff that could stop him now. Braum Shield, Samira coming out with her W, Windwall. It's like a lot of things can stop Twitch that weren't here before. So I think we need to see a Twitch buff. So E damage per stack ratio increased. That's good. R bolt damage reduction per enemy hit decreased. That's great. It seems we left the rat in the sewers. We know his paws are itching to get back into the meta. Nice. When Twitch is good, it's fun. I like when Twitch is good. 0.2 to 0.33. Wait. 0.33 AP. What? How? You don't build any AP on Twitch. What kind of stupid change is this? Like, what? This is dumb. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, I don't understand this. The R. 20% from previous hit, 5% per unit hit. Wait, that's an insane buff. Wait a minute. This technically got buffed by 75%. That's actually fucking wild. What? 5% per unit. Wait, Twitch's ulti is gonna do so much teamfight damage now. I don't know if it'll be on par with MF's, but god, this is huge. This is a huge Twitch change. If this doesn't make Twitch played, I'll be surprised. This is great. His teamfighting should be one of the best if he has Runons now. This Twitch change is actually like super fucking sicko. Super sicko mode. Twitch definitely should be near the midline with this, hopefully. Even though it doesn't solve his problems, it helps the parts where he's strong. Anyway, Ching Ching. What do I think of Ching Ching? Ching Ching sucks ass. He's decent, but he's not good at all. I miss old Ching Ching, honestly, but this one isn't bad. I think he needs buffs. Xin Zhao is no longer the early game threat he used to be, and after that, he's nothing threat. So we're giving him a bump into his damage and clear. If you buff Xin Zhao too much, the real fear that happens is he can just win any duel and just sustain the fuck out of everything and just kill things. Because that was a big problem. Xin Zhao's healing on his like third strike was a big fucking issue. I remember he used to go top so much, now he's only gone in the jungle, and even then he's a lackluster pick. I would say he's definitely near the bad line. But let's see what they're doing. They have to buff him. They're buffing him by slight damage ratio and slight base damage. I mean, this makes it slightly better, but this really does nothing in terms of itself. Obviously, Riot is just going to keep doing these little teeny weeny changes over and over again till eventually the champion just becomes stat check better, but until then, this change is pretty whatever. I think Xin Zhao is still pretty weak. Runes. Guardian is overpowering on Mage Enchanted. Wait, first, what do I think of Guardian? Honestly, I don't fucking know. They overbuffed it, and I think they knew they overbuffed it, but they nerfed it, and I don't know how it is now. Okay, so they don't like it on Mages, Enchanters, and Tank Supports. What? I thought you said it was too weak and not enough Tank Supports were using it. Are you stupid? We're turning down its power to open up other options. Oh, so they're turning down the AP power. That's fucking fine. This should only be really scaling off health, like, pretty well. They nerfed the health scaling too, which is surprising, honestly. I think they should nerf the AP and slightly nerf the health, not 0.15 to 0.9. That's a huge amount. I think they should have nerfed it maybe 0.15 to 0.12 or 0.11. But I guess Guardian was pretty fucking sicko, so you know what, who cares? Okay. We've got a long list of League client bug fixes and quality of life changes. I'm actually curious to read these. I'll say any ones that are like important. Okay, so let's see. Players online, not shown available. Okay, this is nothing. Ticker message. That's nothing. Spectating even longer shows your status as green. No, that's nothing. Foreskin rarities. No. The screen is no longer black. No. The names is a decent one, because I actually had that happen a lot to me. There's a lot of times when players' names would just type out as like ... and I have no clue who's speaking, so that's a decent one. Missions until the client's finished loading. That's good. Blocking a playthrough add friends is no longer shows D. Okay. On screen names are no longer overlap. That's fucking hilarious. Glowing circle for all tab. In the client. Okay. Change the background profile now. Dynamically updates your hover card. Oh, that's nice. Missing translation. Okay, all this is stupid. VFX updates. Okay, so these people look better. Wait, what did they say? Yeah, we know this is not technically a champion. Ignite. Oh, wow, yeah, they updated Ignite. Malzahar looks better. Nocturne looks better. Victor looks better. Trin looks better. And then Ignite. So Ignite looks really cool now, which is nice. Bug fixes, no one gives a fuck. Oh, wow. A lot of really interesting bugs, actually, that I didn't know about. And then here are the skins, which we talked about. Overall, pretty whatever patch. I'd rate this one probably a fucking 5.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. A lot of changes were necessary because a lot of picks were, you know, decently good, but they nerfed a lot of things that like I liked, and they kind of semi-buffed some stuff like Kale. Like Ari got buffed, but it's stupid. Ashe got nerfed. She needed to, but AD is weak in general. Galio, stupid. Kale, decent, but kind of like a nerf. Kog'Maw, stupid. MF buffed, but it's stupid. A lot of these shits are stupid buffs. Set, I don't even know what the fuck. Yeah, I would say 5.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. This patch was fucking whatever. How long did this take me? Wow, this only took me half an hour. Look at that. I thought it would take me so much longer. I'm proud of myself. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it. 5.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks when Samira comes out, and I'll be excited to review her because I have a lot of opinions on her. To give you a little spoiler alert, I thought she was great. Now I have the exact opposite opinion, but we'll see. I'll need some time. But anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm out.